This is Mark Chopper Reed, Australia's favourite earless criminal. Freelance extortionist with anywhere from 0 to 19 kills, depending on who you ask. Armed robber, musician, and beloved children's author. The police hated him, criminals feared him, and the media and public adored him. The question is, why would the general public want anything to do with a madman whose name was synonymous with bolt cutters and a blowtorch in the Melbourne Underworld? Today, we're talking about how Australia's most ridiculous criminal became a living legend. Backed by popular demand. Welcome to Classic Breakfast Cereal. It's a sweet pick. I mean, no wonder this guy only spent 13 months outside of prison between the ages of 20 and 38. That is some serious firepower. I mean, what's he got there? 3 revolvers, a pistol, and a sawed-off shotgun in the shoulder holster? I mean, for a night out in Melbourne? Like, I know Melbourne was a mess back in the 70s and 80s, but he looks like a supporting character from Grand Theft Auto. I gotta be a little careful with this guy too, because I hear he's kind of like an Australian national treasure, like on the same level as Steve Irwin and Marmite.
Oh, excuse me.
I feel like if I handle this wrong, the entire continent is gonna be in my inbox telling me to shut my Canadian mouth, eh? Which I guess, sure, fine, kind of understandable. I think they're just protective of him, like they know he's ridiculous and full of shit, but he's their ridiculous and full of shit criminal. And what do you guys call him again down under? It's like Uncle Chop Chop and something like that, right? I guess they'd give him a pass because he was kind of like, you know, the Dexter of the Australian underworld. A criminal who killed other criminals, mostly heroin dealers and shit. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, you gotta give him a little bit of respect for that. But still, I mean, I don't even know where to start with this guy. Every single time I search up his name, something absolutely hilarious pops up that we gotta talk about. Like, look at the first 2 sentences of his wiki bio, okay? Mark Brandon Chopper Reed was an Australian convicted criminal, gang member, and author. Reed wrote a series of semi-autobiographical fictional crime novels and children's books. What? Hold on. Who is buying a children's book from a guy who looks like this? Like, is this the about the author image on the back of the book? Even if it isn't, I mean, why would you read your kids' bedtime stories written by a guy who was famous for kidnapping and torturing drug dealers with a blowtorch and bolt cutters? Like, look at this. Here's his best-selling children's book. Like the artwork alone must exclude it from every children's library in the world. The title, too, Hooky the Cripple. The grim tale of a hunchback who triumphs. Triumphs over what? Who? Drug dealers? Heroin junkies? Neville fucking Bartos?
Hey.
I was trying to find a copy of that book. I couldn't find it. But I did find this clip of Chopper promoting it on the Footy Show.
Hooky screamed and, drawing his fishing knife from his belt, stabbed Manuelo the butcher 21 times in the head. The butcher fell in the mud, dead.
But anyways, where was I? Yeah, you actually needed to take out a life insurance policy just to interview this guy. Here's what happened when a reporter for Hard Copy interviewed him in Tasmania.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a slug in this gun. Now, you got to take my word for it, but there's a slug in this gun. Well, I want 1 shot to my head. 1 shot to Renee's. Are you ready, Renee?
I don't think I want to play.
Are you ready? You don't want to play. Bad luck.
Dude, like, take it down a notch, pal. I mean, the 90s weren't that long ago, but holy shit, they were a different time.
It's the 90s, remember? Microchips, microwaves, faxes.
Forcing a reporter to play Russian roulette against her will is next level.
I don't think I want to play.
I mean, even if the gun wasn't loaded, which, by the way, Chopper claimed it was, this one definitely was.
Yep, I'm a crack shot.
90s TV was awesome. I mean, that right there pretty much demonstrates that he's not right in the head. What if he missed and blew that guy's arm off?
'Tis but a scratch.
You're just gonna finish the interview from inside a trauma ward while Chopper cracks jokes about how his aim was a little off because he had one too many Fosters? And who is that guy anyway? Like, did Chopper just tell the boom guy holding the mic to, hey, put down the mic and hold up a target? How about no?
Trent, grab that bottle. Get over there. Just like play by the hour.
Why would you think it's a good idea to let a guy who's been shot more times than Denzel at the end of training day use you as a target holder? But even though that interview was making the rounds all over the place, it wasn't how most of us over here heard about Chopper. See, I discovered him the same way as most, or maybe a lot of you probably did, when Eric Bana played him in the 2000 film Chopper. Oh, oops, sorry. Let's try that again. Yeah, have you seen that movie? I mean, how crazy was that opening scene where he stabs that dude in the face? The beginning of that film centers on Chopper's life in H Block at Pentridge Prison. The stories coming out of that place involving him at the time were so wild that the media couldn't ignore them. We're talking extortion, fighting, of course, debt collection rackets, taking hostages, stabbing anyone and everyone. And the incident that he was most famous for? Convincing a friend to cut his ears off. Hold on. That could come across a little confusing. Let me clarify. He didn't convince a friend to cut off his own ears. No. He got a friend to cut off his, as in Chopper's ears. It's kind of still sounds confusing. So Chopper didn't have any fucking ears because he convinced a friend to cut them off. That's what I'm saying. There, does that make sense? Eric, you got it? Yeah? Make sense? Yeah. Cool. Okay, here, just look at this photo. See? No ears. Don't worry, I'll get into the whole Evander Holyfield look and how that happened a bit later, plus a ton of other ridiculous shit, so just hang around. Okay, first we're gonna take a closer look at the name. He was born Mark Brandon Reed, but everyone knows him by his nickname, Chopper. Now that you know a bit about the guy's history, it makes sense to think that he got the name from, like hacking some guy's nuts off with a meat cleaver or something like that. No, not at all, actually. He got it from the children's show Yankee Doodle. I know. I watched a few episodes to see if the dog took a pair of bolt cutters to a heroin dealer's toes, but I couldn't find anything like that at all. Apparently, his childhood buddies thought he resembled the cartoon dog.
Oh, hello, Yaki.
He claimed that by the time he turned 15, he had been on the losing end of several hundred fights. Again, another weird statement. Several hundred fights? So what, anywhere between 200 to 400, 500 fights? By the time he hit 9th grade? I mean, he's pushing Vin Diesel numbers.
500 fights. That's the number I figured when I was a kid.
Plus, he said he was on the losing end of several hundred fights. If you're still losing after 300, don't you think you're probably in the wrong field? I don't know. He just must have said that in a rare moment of humility or something, because he definitely became a good fighter. If anything, he was too good at fighting, because he turned it into a career and quickly built up a reputation as someone you definitely don't want to fuck with. He started his criminal career by robbing drug dealers, then moved up the ladder to kidnapping and torturing underworld crime figures. His weapon of choice?
22 automatic, Colt 45 Eagle, stick of gel ignite, 410 shotgun, another stick of gel ignite, meat cleaver.
That and a blowtorch and a pair of rusty bolt cutters. By the way, that's Ronnie Johns playing Chopper.
Oh, how the fuck are
He does one of the best Chopper impressions out there, so if you've never seen him, be sure to check it out.
Give me this fucking job or I'll shoot you where you sit.
So anyways, the main takeaway is that Chopper guy was not your average criminal. He was, how should I say, unique, covered in tattoos, a sociopath, charming in a stabby sort of way, talked kind of weird, even for an Aussie. See, Chopper sounded like this.
If you bashed a woman, well, you're a weak, gutless individual.
Oh man, that is another gem I found.
My name's Mark Brandon Chopper Reed.
Apparently, some, I don't know, stoners or something at the Film Board of Australia thought it would be a good idea to cast Chopper in 2 public service announcement videos.
I'm not a tough guy, but I've broken a lot of men that thought they were tough guys.
One for violence against women.
You will get dealt with. You will suffer. We will break your neck, you low, gutless, weak mice.
And the other on the dangers of drunk driving.
If you drink and you drive, you want to pray to God you don't ever go to prison.
Both ads can essentially be summed up as, don't do crime because Chopper will cut your toes and ears off in prison.
Be afraid, because if you come to jail, you're going to have every bloody reason to be afraid.
I don't know, I think they might have got a few days of airtime before an entire department got fired, after people started pointing out that it was a kind of a bad look to get a notorious woman beater to tell men not to hit women. And if you followed me for a while, I mean, you might be forgiven. I'd forgive you to think that I just actually made those clips with my editing prowess. I mean, I've made all sorts of mashups over the past year or so, like this one.
Now, would you get in the car with this man?
You know, finding the right pair of eyeglasses is a tough thing. At LensCrafters, I've got everything I need to help someone find a pair of eyeglasses that they'll really love. Whatever my customers need.
Much more credible as a human being. LensCrafters, helping people see better, 1 hour at a time.
But no, these are real, actually real, insane. But really what I'm trying to say is that separating fact from fiction is tough with this guy.
Don't question me about my bloody well word. That's all I'm saying, dude. That's it.
In an interview, he said it himself. Never let the truth get in the way of a good yarn. I came across so many contradictions out of this guy's mouth that it's hard to count. Like, in one of his dozen or so books, he claimed he played a supporting role in the killing of 19 people and the attempted murder of 11 others. But in an April 2013 interview with the New York Times, he said, "Look, honestly, I haven't killed that many people. Probably about 4 or 7, depending on how you look at it." The fuck does that mean? 4 or 7, depending on how you look at it? Try telling that to a judge and see if it holds up.
That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Ridiculous!
There are two things that are fucked up with that statement. First, 4 or 7. Which is it? See, because there's 3 between 4 and 7, and each represents about 25 to life. Second, what does depending on how you look at it mean? Because according to, look at this. According to Merriam-Webster, murder, watch me pretend that I'm pulling right to the page. Murder is the crime of unlawfully and unjustifiably killing a person. It's not up for debate. I mean, maybe he meant that because he killed bad guys, it wasn't murder. Like maybe he saw it as more of a public service or something. He's just all over the place. In his last interview with 60 Minutes before his death, he confessed to murdering 4 people throughout his life.
4 is all you're getting, and that 4, that's it. 4, that's it.
But then again, he had a kind of an interesting perspective on violence, so he probably had a different understanding of murder compared to the general public, or the dictionary.
There's no violence in shooting someone. There's no violence.
You've told me you've probably stabbed up to a dozen people. You've jumped on people's heads. You've done. I mean, you're violent, Mark.
No, oh God, there's violence and then there's violence.
I don't know, in a Chopper sort of way that it kind of makes sense, right? If you don't see shooting someone as a violent act, then you can kind of justify anything. As long as you shoot and strangle your enemies, it's like it didn't even happen. I guess it's kind of like the whole if a tree falls in the forest analogy. If you non-violently strangle a heroin dealer to death, did he really even die? Maybe that's why he can't keep track of his kill count. Because like, unless he exploded you into a million pieces, it doesn't count. He probably just forgot. But come on. He knew exactly what violence was. He had more holes in his own body than Sonny Corleone. Look.
Twice there. Ice pick straight through the heart there.
Wait, sorry, excuse me? Ice pick straight through the heart? What? He's like Jason Statham in Spy.
This arm has been ripped off completely and reattached with this fucking arm.
You know that that's possible. I mean, medically.
Stanley knife across there. Stanley knife across there. Stanley knife. Stanley knife. Stanley knife here. Bullet hole here. Ice pick here. Stanley knife.
The guy'd been stabbed so many times in prison that he literally lost a few feet of intestine.
How do you think the other prisoners would see you?
They hate my guts. I'm as popular as a pork chop in a synagogue.
That reminds me, we gotta talk more about Chopper's vacation home. To anyone who loves their ears and body parts, H Block at Pentridge Prison is the last place you'd want to wind up.
Investigative reporter Ian Gillespie locked up behind bars in the most feared unit in the state, maximum security H Division. A place where the most violent and dangerous criminals face the harshest regime the system can offer.
To the inmates, it was Hell Division, and it lived up to its name. Chopper formed the Overcoat Gang in there. They got the name because they carried makeshift weapons under their long overcoats.
A couple of other friends, I made them wear overcoats, and we had axes up our sleeves, and we went around and dealt with the situation.
See, what I don't understand here is they let them wear long overcoats in prison? Isn't that a very easy fix for the guards? Hey, Chopper, lose the fucking coat, pal. Problem solved. According to Chopper, H Block was so corrupt back then that the guards would just let him loose on the other inmates that they couldn't control. Kind of like a stabby subcontractor or like a junkyard dog.
Chopper, sick balls.
And it all led up to the incident that he's most famous and most recognizable for. The whole ear cutting off thing. Here's how it went down. According to Chopper, he caught wind that a rival gang was gonna stab the shit out of him. So he was like,
"That's not a knife. That's a knife."
Only he didn't use his knife to defend himself. He just handed it to his buddy Jimmy and told him to slice off his ears.
He's gone. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, I'm trying to be gentle, mate." I said, "You're an idiot." I said, "You don't hack someone's ears off gently." I said, "You hack through them.
Don't ask me. He said he thought it was the only way to get transferred to the infirmary and escape H Block.
Oh, it hurt like hell.
But it's a bit weird, don't you think? I mean, why was that the first thing to come to mind? Slicing off your ears? Why not just tell Jimmy to, I don't know, break your nose or something? Like, at the very least, just take the scream approach and get Jimmy to stab you in the abdomen away from your vitals. Chopping off your ears? It just seems so permanent and unnecessary, but whatever. He was a trendsetter. Listen.
One bloke cut his penis off just to get out of H Division order.
Wait. Following Chopper's example, a guy cut his penis off to get out of H Division? Here, I was thinking the whole chopping your ears off thing was a little extreme. But you mean to tell me that some other guys were just like, fuck it, I'll just hack this off instead? I don't know, it's just, how about just the tip of a finger or a toe or something? You go straight for the penis? I don't know, maybe was the guy a lifer and just figured he'd never have the chance to use it again anyway? Who knows? Who cares? But the best part, even when he was transferred back to H Division after the infirmary, the attack he was trying to flee never even happened. So he's just running around looking like Van Gogh's demented stepbrother for the rest of his life for absolutely no reason. Still, for a lunatic like Chopper, the whole earless look just kind of worked to his advantage. To understand the world Chopper was operating in, you gotta understand what the Melbourne Underworld was like.
The criminal world
is controlled by blood and guts. It always has been controlled by blood and guts. It always will be controlled by blood and guts.
You gotta understand, see, Chopper wasn't your average gangster or drug dealer. He was something else entirely. Hey, you know what? It's been a little while since, VO Guy has joined us, so I'm gonna let him take this.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, welcome back, man.
Standover man, a professional lunatic with a death wish for hire, a psychopath, sometimes earless, who robs criminals, intimidates intimidators, shoots first and doesn't give a fuck about the consequences. Crocodile Dundee stands as an...
No, not Crocodile Dundee.
Sorry.
Just give it to us in a sentence.
Okay, sure. If a heroin dealer hears someone say, "Hands up, asshole," and it isn't a cop, congratulations. You've met a Standover man. Or possibly Crocodile Dundee.
Jesus, man. Never mind. Now, I'll just do it myself, as usual. I don't know why I bothered. Anyways, basically, Chopper robbed criminals for a living. Looking back on his life and crimes, Chopper tried to claim that he targeted drug dealers because they were poisoning the community. But come on, really? It's not like he was giving back to the community like some deformed, earless Robin Hood or something. It was just quick, untraceable money. He didn't have a humanitarian bone in his body.
Why should I stand on the footpath with me in my hand while these I shouldn't say that, should I? While these people drive past in their Mercedes coupes and wearing $20,000 Rolex watches and making a lot of money? Why should I have nothing while all these and assorted, third world brand types make a fortune out of heroin?
You tell him, Chop. In his eyes, it was just the perfect crime. No witnesses, no police. And because he was batshit insane, most people were too scared to retaliate. I mean, the guy's reputation spoke for itself. A history of violence, a complete lack of fear, no ears, and nothing to lose. With the media beginning to take an interest, so did the general public. And Chopper was ready to capitalize on it.
I wanted to become famous. I don't know why I wanted to become famous. I didn't want my life to mean nothing.
Man, where to start? Chopper loved attention. Like I said, the guy wrote over a dozen books that sold millions of copies. Here's a notable mention. Chopper 2, How to Shoot Friends and Influence People. Great title. They're numbered because it's an 11-book series. Look at this. Detective Sergeant Rod Wilson reviewed the book saying, Mark Brandon Reed has done for literature what Hannibal Lecter did for vegetarianism. Not exactly a rave review. And honestly, I'm not even sure what the fuck Hannibal Lecter did for vegetarianism. Plus, that guy was a cop, so he's biased. Check out the About the Author section here. Mark Brandon Reed now lives in Tasmania, far out of the reach of hundreds of criminals who want to put a bullet in his skull. He enjoys reading, cooking, and caring for his electric chainsaw. Yo, so how much you want to bet Chopper wrote that himself? He's definitely playing it up. Still, got a good rating here, like Amazon, 4.7 out of 5. Not bad, not bad, not bad. I scanned the customer reviews, not a bad one in sight. Okay, let's see, how about this one here? Chopper 3, Hell Hath No Fury Like a Mate Shot in the Arse. Man, he is killing it with these titles. The description talks a little bit more about him. He has been shot, stabbed, hit with a claw hammer, and nearly kicked to death. This just keeps getting better and better. There are too many to cover, but I think it's safe to say that he makes Mark Twain look like an illiterate bitch. Anyways, when he wasn't blowing Shakespeare out of the water with his insane literary skills, he was doing interviews, appearing on late-night comedy shows, and going on live tours. Kind of like David Brent after The Office.
Who the fuck's that?
Who are you?
Just kidding. The crowd fucking loved old Uncle Chop Chop.
Please give it up for Mark Brandon Chopper Reed.
He's up there telling stories about shooting, stabbing people, and cutting heroin dealers' toes off.
A thin line, little sort of spots, thin line, spots. That's the way you know you're following the trail of someone's had their leg blown off.
This is just a good time. Yeah, half of it was probably made up, but whatever, man. I mean, he's an entertaining guy. Look at this shit. There's a wine named after him, Chopper Red. A beer called Chopper Heavy. And I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of this episode, I said you can't even really search this guy's name without hilarious shit popping up. So he released a rap album. Just look at the description. Interview with a Madman is a hip-hop album by Australian criminal Mark Chopper Reed. Released on Rotten Records on March 13th, 2006, Reed's foray into music features gritty tales of organized crime, jail time, and ear mutilation. Imagine if you'd never heard of Chopper before. You're perusing the rap section at Virgin Records back in 2006. You're flipping through and you come across, Interview with a Madman here. Oh, sounds cool. This cover looks cool too. Hey, what's that sticker say? Psychiatric advice, psychiatric advisory? Ooh, that's fucking rad. So you flip over the jewel case and you start reading. Gritty tales of organized crime, jail time, and ear mutilation? Wait, what? Why so specific? Themes of mutilating your enemies, yeah, that's kind of common, but ear mutilation? Whose ears? Why? Meh, I gotta find out. I'll take it. The guy should have collaborated with Cannibal Corpse or something. Ear mutilation sounds right up their alley. And you know what? I've listened to the entire 27 tracks, and I can assure you that it's a fucking masterpiece. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, let's take a listen.
You see that bloody prick cut off that copper's ear? There was no blood. Believe me, when you cut off someone's ear, there's blood all over the place. It don't stop bleeding. That copper hardly had any blood on him at all. That Quentin Tarantino knows all about cutting off ears. He should never have made that movie, Reservoir Dogs. What a fucker he is.
Here we go.
Uncle Chop Chop, the man you love to fear. Fuck Reservoir Dog. I'll lop off your ears. So listen clear, and I hope you understand. It's not easy as a standover man. Firstly, most criminals are liars.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, did you hear the spot there? He badmouthed Tarantino. Come on, Quentin. That's not what happens when you cut someone's ears off. Quentin, maybe he should have hired Chopper as an ear mutilation advisor for that scene. You know, they do that for the military scenes. Anyway, the entire album, like I said before, it's on YouTube. I highly suggest you check it out. But after all the books, the tours, the drinks, the music, the guy declared bankruptcy in 2007. The Chopper movie was a massive success, but he claimed there wasn't a formal deal in place, so he didn't receive any residuals. Still, it did make him a star.
There's been a movie made about you. Well, your life's not a complete waste of time, is it?
And in classic Chopper form, he said he signed over any money from the movie to a children's hospital in Melbourne. Now, some credible sources say it's true, but I couldn't find a public record confirming any donation. Like everything Chopper said, good luck separating the fact from the fiction. But hey, I mean, maybe that's what makes him such a legend. Mark Brandon Chopper Reed died from liver cancer on October 9th, 2013. He was 58 years old. Half of the country mourned him like a fallen folk hero. The other half wondered why they were mourning a guy who cut his own ears off and tortured heroin dealers with a blowtorch. The Stingray got Steve Irwin, and Chopper Reed died from cancer. Some things just don't make any sense.
What do you expect me to say?
So what do you think? Should televised Russian Roulette make a comeback? Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, hey, don't forget to murder that subscribe button because I've got more killer content dropping all the time. Take it easy, cornflakes. I'll see you in the next one.
Eight and a half inch butcher's knife there. The contracts that the Italians put out on me, they're just good for a giggle.